As we've seen recently, I'm speaking of Tuesday, September the 4th, in the police records, there was charges against people who left their beloved pet dogs in hot cars. Also, there was charges for people with refusing to pick up the feces from their dogs. Now, this is their beloved pets. These are the same people who will want chickens in their backyards. Chickens are not beloved pets, they're livestock. They belong on a farm. Where are the people who have these chickens in their backyards going to put the feces from these chickens? On the curb with the regular garbage going to our recycle plant? Or are they just going to put them in a pile in their backyard, causing a stench, especially when it's been as hot as it has been this past summer? These piles of feces will be a breeding ground for disease and airborne bacteria, which can cause bronchitis. So there's a solution. You could vaccinate the chickens. Are these chickens going to be vaccinated? Are the owners going to be vaccinated? And who's going to monitor and check this? What cost to taxpayers to ensure the safety of the chickens and the public? Another factor is the predators. We already have coyotes in Oakwood Cemetery. Do we want them wandering all through Simcoe? Chickens attract not only skunks and raccoons and coyotes, but also rats. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be going out to my car and encountering a hungry coyote. Not a good situation. And what about the real estate properties? You want to sell your house, but your neighbors have chickens. Who's going to want to purchase a house knowing that there's disease-carrying fowl right next door? Not me. That means property values are going to go down. I believe that livestock in town will drastically affect real estate prices in Simcoe. We have a barking dog bylaw. Your neighbor's dogs are annoying you, you can call, bylaw, have it taken care of. Are we going to set in place a bylaw for squawking chickens? I was here last spring. My neighbors 2 doors down had chickens that somebody was going out and tormenting. I called the police. Nothing's done. There's no bylaw. Okay. If we allow chickens, then someone's going to want a goat. They're going to want a pig. Maybe even a cow for fresh milk. Where did it end? It ends right here if we say no to chickens right now. Thank you.
If you want to stick around just for a moment in case there's questions, I will ask council members, is there questions to the deputation? I see none. I thank you.
Thank you.
It has been moved by Councillor Oliver, seconded by Councillor Geisens, that the deputation of Tamara Smith regarding the backyard hens report be received as information. Discussion? Those in favor? It's carried. Thank you. And our next deputation this afternoon is from Andrew Moore, and his deputation is also on the backyard hens report that we'll be dealing with very shortly. Andrew, please, if you come to the microphone, and you too, sir, have 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Mr. Mayor and councilmen. Today I'm here to discuss the staff report regarding backyard hens. Although the report doesn't recommend backyard hens in hamlets or urban areas, I hope to change your minds. To me, the report is just a scare tactic, telling us all the possible problems, but nothing definite. I think we should look at the stats from other municipalities that actually allow backyard hens. Niagara Falls has had them for 20 years and still stands strong. Niagara probably had concerns too, but look what they did. They took a chance, and look where they are now. I understand you're scared. Change is frightening, but it's time to quit thinking about everything that could go wrong and look at what could go right. A concern in the report was cost. I'm not sure exactly what would cost you, but why not be like other places who have chickens and charge the homeowners wishing to have chickens? It's an easy way to make money while allowing people who want them a chance to get them. Last year, you gave the hamlets a trial within a few days of voting no. There were no reports needed. You just changed your minds and allowed a no rule or regulation trial. Now it's time to do the same for all of Norfolk County. This time, of course, gathering proper data. Although someone allegedly died as a result of bad egg handling, That is not a reason to stop us from having our own hens in our own backyards. As long as we meet the guidelines to have such animals, such as proper yard size and pen enclosed, then we should be allowed to have them. One of the first things I learned about when learning about chickens was to wash your hands after handling them. To get salmonella from a chicken, you would need to touch the chicken or the egg or the coop and rub your eye or touch your mouth. To prevent it, all you need to do is wash your hands. It's one of those responsibilities about having chickens. If you don't want to take the risk, don't get chickens. The report stated the health unit's concerns of Salmonella and E. coli being a possible health hazard, but those diseases can be contracted from many other sources as well. Bad things sadly happen every day, but life goes on and we cannot live in fear daily. We need to get back to our roots and be proud to live in Norfolk, proud to enter our livestock into the Norfolk County Fair, so named for all of its residents, not the Norfolk Agricultural County Fair. Why have all these places that allow chickens never had these issues? What makes Norfolk different than all these other places? Norfolk County is known for our farming, but we don't even allow its people to have a few hens. That's sad. So once again, all I ask for is a trial. If things go bad, okay, we don't allow them. You can't judge something that you've never tried. Instead of always looking at what could go wrong, look at what could go right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much for that. Are there questions from council members to Andrew? Councillor Brunton, please.
Thank you, Andrew, for your presentation. I'm sure you've done your homework.
I have.
My question to you is, you've had chickens, or you raise chickens now, or someplace else? Or
I do not.
You don't have any outside the urban area? Nowhere. Have you ever had them, or never?
I have before, yes.
Whereabouts?
In town.
In town.
I did get them, yeah.
And how many and where? Can you?
I only had 3 in my backyard.
And where was that, if I may?
In Simcoe,
No, what location?
near Sobeys.
Oh, out in that area? Okay. And you had no problems?
No problems at all. They didn't make any noise. They didn't attract any predators, which I heard someone say about rats or whatever, but in fact, they would kill a rat if a rat came near them. Same with a snake. They would just kill it.
Okay.
They would. It's proven. So you can search it up if you'd like. I have.
You had a pen, they didn't?
Yep. Like I said, a pen enclosed is what they would have to be, not free range, in
No.
a fenced area.
Not in your yard then, just in a pen?
In a pen, yep.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Further questions? Hearing none, thank you very much for your deputation, Andrew. It's been moved by Councillor Columbus and seconded by Councillor Sonnenberg that the deputation of Andrew Moore regarding the backyard hens report be received as information. Discussion? Those in favor? That is carried. Received as information. If you would, please go to page 43, gentlemen, of your agenda. There is a staff report DCS 18-96 concerning the backyard hens follow-up for a pilot project. Mr. Enslin, Pam, I'll turn it over to you and then you can go from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Council may recall on July 11th, 2017, Council approved the raising of egg-laying chickens, otherwise known as hens, within the Hamlet residential zone in Norfolk County for a trial period of 1 year. And the trial period included no requirements regarding maximum number of hens, neighboring consent, site inspections, chicken coop location, hygienic storage, or removal of feces or dead chickens. Staff have no record of how many or if any backyard hen operations were established during this period, as no direct monitoring occurred. And there were also no formal bylaw complaints during this time period. The report before you today identifies both benefits and issues related to permitting backyard hens, and it also includes an email in attachment A to inform and educate both staff and council about a human death allegedly related to the raising of hens within Norfolk County in a Hamlet residential zone during the time trial. The raising of chickens is currently permitted in the agricultural area in Norfolk County on properties that are 2 hectares or 5 acres or greater. The agricultural zone in Norfolk County consists of approximately 127,000 hectares or over 300,000 acres of land respectively. And there are many examples where local produce in the form of farm fresh eggs can be purchased from Norfolk County farms directly or from farmers markets. Various municipalities both permit and do not permit backyard hens, as identified on the chart before you on your screens. This is not a comprehensive list of all municipalities in Ontario, but does provide a demonstration to Council that there are many rural municipalities that do not permit backyard hens in hamlets or urban areas. Whereas many of the urban municipalities do permit backyard hens, and they are regulated. So in conclusion, Norfolk County staff continue to recommend that the raising of hens should occur only in the agricultural areas. But if Council decides to continue supporting the raising of hens in the hamlet residential zone or other zones, Norfolk County staff recommend that a subsequent report be provided to Norfolk County Council proposing a bylaw to regulate the existence of raising backyard hens through both the Municipal Act and the Planning Act.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Dusling. Questions to staff on this report? Councillor Black, I'll start with you, sir.
Mayor, thank you very much. Through you to Pam. And I'm just wondering if the Agriculture Advisory Committee has had any discussions about this. I don't know if Pam can answer that, or and the reason I'm asking is I'm thinking that with this recommendation, there is an opportunity for the farm community. I hear the farmers are always wanting to have an opportunity to make more money, and their taxes are high and so on and so forth. So would this not be an opportunity for some farmers to provide an area so the urban people could come out and establish a chicken coop on their property? I'm just wondering if that discussion has occurred at the Agriculture or the Tourism Advisory Committee, or to your knowledge.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Black, that's a very good question. The quick and easy answer is no, not at this time. The Agriculture Advisory Board has not been included in this report or the findings of this report, but if it is Council's desire to move forward, they would automatically, through the Planning Advisory Committee option, be included in future discussions and a presentation to Council.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Height, please.
Thank you, Mayor Luke. Through you to Ms. Dusling. I see on our screen in front of us the City of Toronto has a pilot project up until 2021. When was that first announced? What year?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I am not 100% sure the year that it started, but I can find that out for you.
So, but it's at least a 3-year trial period is what they're attempting?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Brunton.
Thank you, Mayor Luke. Very quickly through to Pam. Pam, when it says, if permitted, are they regulated for those like Guelph, Kitchener area there? Are they, when it says regulated, I assume there's different rules in all of them?
Through Mr. Mayor to Councillor Brunton, that's correct. Most of them have a combination of both a zoning bylaw amendment that's happened through their zoning bylaw,
Right.
and also a separate bylaw under the Municipal Act that may permit the number of hens and any sort of other ideas like the setbacks would be in the zoning, but more or less waste handling. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you, Fritz. Yes.
So like if they build a coop, it's got to be certain distances from everything.
That's right. So the setbacks of that coop or the distance diameter of the property for the chickens would be in the zoning bylaw, and all the other details basically would be in a separate bylaw.
If let's say if we were to look into a trial period, would the neighborhood be circulated? You don't have to circulate to do a trial period if this young man wanted to have half dozen hens or whatever the process would be, and would he have to like, how do we know what his neighbors feel? Do they get circulated, I guess, that we're going to do a trial period?
So, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Brunton, if council decided to move forward with regulating chickens in the hamlet zone or the urban area zones, then I would assume that council would want to do that on an as-of-right basis, and we would put forward an amendment, both in the zoning bylaw that everyone would be circulated to, everyone meaning the whole of Norfolk County Council. And so it wouldn't be, your neighbors wouldn't be identified specifically, but it would be identified in the local newspapers.
But there wouldn't be a notice sent to their home?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wells?
Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor, might I ask Mr. Enslin a question?
You
Mr.
certainly
Enslin,
can.
if we were to allow chickens in the backyard, do you see this as an addition that you would have to add staff to your department?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it will always be seen as a resource issue. It's another bylaw that enforcement officers would have to enforce. So depending on the nature of the complaints, there will be resource issues if this is a new bylaw.
Thank you. Councillor Columbus?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I note that chart shows 8 large urban centers do have chickens permitted, and 14 of them don't. But Pam, what happens in these centers where they do permit them with the chickens that die?
Mr. Mayor, to Councillor, usually in most situations, it's the specific bylaw under the Municipal Act that outlines those details.
So we don't know whether perhaps someone might slip it into the garbage or anything like that, create some problems that way.
It's probable in most of those that the details are very clearly outlined of when a chicken passes, how it should be removed.
So I know from my experience with chickens, usually they lay well for about a year and a half, and then you have to replace them with another batch. So I know a lot of them probably go into soup at that stage, but that's kind of what happens on the farm in the rural area. Thanks.
Any other questions for staff? Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Fritz. I do have a motion. It has been moved by Councillor Columbus and seconded by Councillor Geisens that report DCS 18-96, Backyard Hens, follow-up, 2017-2018 pilot project be received as information, and that the raising of hens should occur only in the agricultural area of Norfolk County. This is open for discussion. Councillor Columbus and then Black, please.
Mr. Mayor, I did sign that motion for approval only in the agricultural area, simply because in the last week or two, I think councilors got the message through an email. I did, after it was reported in the local newspaper, there was an issue that was brought to my attention where someone's trying to sell a property in Delhi area, and it's an urban area, and it was indicated to me that there was an awful odor and flies. So I went and looked at the site, and I ended up calling the bylaw department, and because there was a complaint, and I believe that's been taken care of now. I don't think there's chickens at the site now. But it's for that reason. There was odor and there was flies. Now it's like a person that keeps a dog. If they don't manage their dog and they allow it to bark or run loose, same thing. This particular property was not kept up that well, and hence there was an odor and flies coming from the operation. But that's been solved. So I support chickens only in the agricultural area.
Thank you, Councillor Black.
Luke, thank you very much, and I certainly appreciate the fact that there probably are some responsible people out there that would take care of the chickens properly, and that there may be no problems. But as we know, human beings, there are those that are very responsible, and then there are some that aren't. And those ones kind of ruin it for everyone else. Mayor Luke, the last week and a half or so, I have been more visible out visiting individuals, and I made a point of asking the question whether they would think this idea of chickens in the urban area was a good idea. And I did get some people, not many, and most, and I would say well over 90% of my polling in the last probably 10 days did not like the idea. Some areas that I've been to in Simcoe, I can't imagine if someone put chickens in their backyard, they would be very, very upset. I think that there is an opportunity for the agricultural sector to capitalize on this. Why, you know, like the biggest urban area is Simcoe. I don't know what it is in square kilometers, probably 4. You know, and we've got 1,600 square kilometers. Most of it is agriculture. You know, it's different than Toronto. They don't have any place, you know, to have chickens. You know, the city of Toronto is as big as Norfolk County. So that's the difference. So why can't we look, or the Agricultural Advisory Committee, the Tourist Advisory Committee, look at the farming community and suggest to them that there is an opportunity for them to make some money, a small amount of rent a year for an individual interested to put up a chicken coop, and maybe a farmer could have 10 of them, I don't know, and make a little money on the side. So I see that as an opportunity that rather than allow this in the urban areas, there is an opportunity that still these people that want to have chickens could do it if the agriculture area were amenable to that. So, thank you. I should say I am going to support the motion on the floor.
Councillor Height?
Thank you, Mayor Luke. I was in an urban area yesterday, as a matter of fact, and it was a friend of mine, and their neighbor had 3 large dogs. Okay, their dogs were in a 10 by 10 backyard in this townhouse complex. You want smell, feces, flies? That's what happens when you don't clean up after your animals. Not everybody doesn't take care of their animals. Okay, so you could have that problem with any kind of animal that is legal to have. There's places in Norfolk County that have 20-some cats in their house. That can't be pleasant. You know, and we know we have a cat problem because we've kicked that can 100 times at this council, I'm sure. Now, for me, we haven't had any occurrences in this short 1-year trial period. Nothing in the hamlets. We've recently had one, and of course it's in the urban center of Delhi. All right, but what I see before us here is an excessive amount of red tape where we have to hire people to do this, and yet we've only had 1 complaint in a year, Mr. Mayor. My suggestion would be to take the City of Toronto's route. We leave it in the hamlets. We know the hamlet people want it. We've received those phone calls. And extend our pilot project for a term of 2 more years. That would give us a better indication. I don't think there's support here to go full urban like I would like to see in the City of Toronto, Guelph, Kitchener, you get it. All right? They've gone that route, but I just think the unnecessary red tape and labor costs, I think an extended period would be a little better to just test the waters a bit more. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Height. Councillor Oliver?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't necessarily want to make a comment either way on the motion that's on the floor, but before we do make our decision, I just want to publicly acknowledge Andrew for his, what I would consider very professional job of bringing this issue back before us and defending his case. He did his homework, as Councillor Breton questioned him. So regardless of the outcome, I think you've done a good job, and I congratulate you for that.
Thank you. Any other comments, discussion on this motion that's on the floor? Councillor Brunton?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Luke. Just very quickly, you know, as a youngster, we had chickens in the urban area, and very close to, well, we were on the edge of town, but it was the urban area of Simcoe, and we had chickens. Now, I think a lot of it has to do with the size of the property that you have them on, so you can have a proper coop. And we had some free range when we were younger, but the thing if you look at the way the urban areas are developing, and I don't know how you would address this, but many of the lots today are so small that it would be hard to, I think, to contain that kind of operation, if you want to call it, where it wouldn't impact on your neighbors. So I'm going to support the motion that's on the floor. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. Those in support of this motion? Those opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you. I now want to move to our bylaws. It's been moved by Councillor Oliver and seconded by Councillor Geisens that bylaw 2018-90, bylaw 2018-91, and bylaw 60Z 2018 and bylaw 61Z 18 be passed, signed by the mayor and the county clerk, and affixed with our corporate seal. Those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Are there any notices of motion to come before this council? There are no motions this evening. We have done other business. We will now go into closed session in a moment if this motion to do so is passed. It has been moved by Councillor Sonnenberg and seconded by Councillor Columbus that this council move into closed session at 5:29 p.m. This is to discuss matters pursuant to Section 239(2)A(b), D, E, and F of the Municipal Act 2001, C25 is amended as the subject matter pertains to the security of property of the municipality or local board, personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, labor relations or employee negotiations, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or the local board, and the advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. Those in favor? It's carried. Thank you. I'm thinking 45 minutes to an hour. I do not know for sure. We'll now move to closed session. Thank you.